Yeah, so great to being here. Ufi asked me already last year to participate this tremendous event. I didn't have time last year to join your Dragon Dance sessions, but I'm happy to be here today. It's great to see you talk about sustainability. Talking with in our daily conversations 3 years ago, it was all about ESG and it was all about the topic of sustainability and making objects more sustainable. Nowadays we more talk about cost of capital and about the last 2 years, about inflation, etc. And I'm very happy to be part of this community because of as well the first session of Mark, of course, highlighted what challenges we face, regulation, governance, and political conversations which neglect or change this direction. And these platforms, of course, build a structure to be a voice in our industry. So I think that's very good. Quickly about myself, we're going to talk about Alpe Ami Hospitality in a second. I'm Daan Bakkenes, I'm head of hotels for Colliers in Austria. I started at Colliers 5 years ago. I having a professional background in hotels, worked for the large chains. Before Colliers, so 5 years, I've worked for one of Germany's largest white label operators, expanded their portfolio outside of Germany, in Austria, Czech Republic, Hungary, Netherlands, UK, and now leading the hotel segment at Colliers since 5 years. We have done some great things. We had a focus on mainly on the cities: Vienna, Salzburg, Graz, which is the second largest city of Austria. We have consulted our approximately 800 million euros until 2024. This is without the numbers of 2025, and 2 billion euros of valuations are of the properties within Austria. We mainly help institutional clients by, of course, investing in the Austrian market, doing operator search selection, brokerage, and a lot of other things like valuations and property management within our market. Now comes the question, if I'm talking with people abroad and I say I'm head of hotels for Colliers in Austria, people are always thinking, okay, I'm used to doing my ski holidays in Austria. We're going to the Alps. Who's doing that? Who's planning their ski holidays in the Alps? Who of the audience is a couple? Yeah, there. Yeah, great to see. So we do have, so that question always reflects back then in the numbers. So looking into the numbers, Vienna, the capital, is producing approximately 13% of the total room nights, which are 157 million room nights a year in 2025. These are the Bundesländer, or the states in Austria. Just to be very clear, Vienna, the capital, is one state, and Salzburg is as well a state, but it's not the city of Salzburg, but it's the state of Salzburg, where is included Salzburger Land, or the countryside of Salzburg, which is part of the Alps. Looking into the numbers, we see that in the end, the most potential lays within the lower three, right? Tyrol, Salzburg, and the Steiermark. So this is more than 50% of the total room nights produced in Austria focus on this. Although our main focus remains in Vienna, Salzburg city, which counts approximately 2 or 3% of the total room nights, and in the Steiermark, that is the city of Graz, which is insignificant to just announce and to just talk about, with 1.4 million room nights produced in the year 2025 compared to the 157. And there's another very interesting trend. We're talking always about Austria, about the winter season, but there is a trend we have seen past in 2017, and then of course the COVID years, we didn't include those, but going up, we see that the summer season is largely growing in demand. The winter season as well, but not so significant as the summer season. The winter season grew over the past 8 years, approximately 1.6%, compared to 12% in the summer season, which is a very interesting trend. And that's a huge paradox, because in the end, we see capital being invested in Vienna, where the lowest room nights are produced, institutional capital, whereas in the Alpine core, which is Tyrol and Salzburg, which produces 45% of the total room night volume in a country, sees less institutional capital invested, which is a great opportunity, and that's what we're going to talk about. So why capital is avoided by the institutional investors? There are, of course, a lot of operational challenges which we can talk about. That's not something we're going to do. We're going to rather talk about the real estate investments. So we see high construction costs as part of the main factors why institutional capital is not finding the ways to the Austrian Alps. Apart from the complex logistics, of course, imagine you are building a hotel on a mountain. You need to get your materials there. You need to get your cranes there, your employees, etc. Compared to a city, that logistical cost alone is, of course, significant compared to planning a hotel or building a hotel into cities or smaller destinations in Vienna. Then the land cost. The land as well seemed to be more expensive compared with the German market, and as well with the surrounding markets in Central Europe. So we, of course, bordering Slovenia, Slovakia, Hungary, Czech Republic, etc., which is a bit of a competitor here. Furthermore, we have a slow permitting, so we are not so bad as Switzerland, where you have a direct democracy and everyone can decide on what happens into a communal area. But the major of an area is, in the end, giving you the building permit, which can take, why not years, if we have a point. Then we talk about seasonality, and I think that's a very important fact today. The seasonality is, we always talk about the Alps, about the winter season. There were some people here from the Erste Bank, which is an Austrian bank, and they already highlighted it just during the previous session. Seasonality is a big thing, and we see a structural change here. The structural change is that the winter season gets shorter. Last year, we were selling a hotel, or we wanted to sell a hotel in Kitzbühel. Kitzbühel is below 1,500 meters. The Kitzbühel hotel was 10 years ago ski in, ski out. That means snow, and I'm directly at the piste. Last year, we went there in the winter. It was walk in, walk out. We didn't see the snow. You needed to go to the next ski lifts in order to go up, which of course impacted the asset value of the object, and as well the asset value and the value expectations of the owner. Then we, in the end, didn't decide to not sell it because of this reason. But we see that in the end, all areas in Austria below 1,500 meters are at risk. And that is a very important point here, because if we see that the summer season is getting bigger, that's as well the cause of this demand pickup compared to that what we just showed you guys. So this 12% increase over the past 9 years. There's another challenge, and that's something, of course, not to underestimate. A lot of properties are family-owned in Austria. We're going into the next generation. The next generation will probably not take over, or is not willing to take over the smaller properties owned by their parents or by the grandparents. And that is a huge challenge. These are smaller operations. We're talking here about units 20 to 40 per object. And we all know that, and there are a lot of operators out there and a lot of investors out there, we all know that you can, on an EBITDA level, can operate the hotel profitable out of 100 to 150 rooms. And maybe in a larger segment it could be a bit less, so you could maybe be profitable at 60 or 70 rooms, but we see there a huge challenge, of course. The institutional scale is 100 to 150 rooms, which in the end then creates a gap between these 2 points. And the major hotels in this area in the Alps are this size. So what do we have? So we have an opportunity gap. We have demand, we have the locations, but we're having a missing link. The missing link is the capital, but we as well having a missing link in terms of concept. We're looking for a scalable, modern, and sustainable model which can increase inventory, which can make for investors their investment more sustainable, and as well for the operator, because if we didn't talk about operating challenges, technology involvement, as well as these smaller assets, the cost of that, etc. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. This is where I come in. We'd like to introduce a possible solution to the problems and the challenges we're facing in the Alpine regions with these small family-run businesses. And over the past years, we have developed a small cabin concept, which is basically a hotel room which we, if so to speak, take out of a building and place it into a part of nature. And so these are 16 to 18 square meter large boxes, one could say, which have everything that you need inside. We have 4 beds, so suitable for children. We have a kitchen. We have a bathroom, so everything basically you need for your family vacation. And the benefits from this is that it's modular. We produce them in 2 factories, and we can basically ship within 12 to 14 weeks. So basically, if we have a new location, we can place orders, and then in 12 to 14 weeks, we would have the entire setup there. We plug it into sewage, water, and electricity, and then we're up and running. And yeah, the pricing is also very interesting since it's all modular. We know exactly what the price of a room or a cabin will be. Plus, there's no variations in building costs going up, building costs going down. We always have a set price we have with our producer, basically. Next slide. Yeah, so it's the CapEx, which is way lower. So basically, we're talking about probably roughly a third of the price of a hotel room. Then timeline, so as I said, 12 to 14 weeks from placing the order to go live. And then the break even. And the locations we run currently, we compare a room versus a tiny house, and we see that the guests are able to spend 20 to 25% more on this more experiential sort of traveling. So the ADRs and the RevPARs are also higher than a regular hotel, which makes the break-even point way closer than a classical hotel. Yeah, and at Alpine Me Hospitality, we basically focus on this kind of experience-based hospitality in the Alpine region, and there we develop, we operate these formats, and then now we're seeking, together with Colliers, to scale that form of the business within the Alpine region. Yeah, again, this is how our cabins look like. So we have a total of 4 beds. So technically, you could bring your friends. You could go on family vacation. 4 full-size beds, 2 on the lower floor, 2 on the mezzanine floor. We have a fully equipped kitchen, aircon, underfloor heating, and the bathroom fully equipped as well. Everything is based on timber, so we have a timber facade and a timber structure. What makes this model this interesting is, as I said, we have a standardized design, so we have two models, basically working with our factories. So we can say, okay, we need 20 of these modules. They are all ready to go. Everything is there and can be shipped, deployed straight to the plot of land. Fast delivery, as I mentioned before, it's 12 to 14 weeks, basically. That's the development model behind that. Next one. And we brought a small case study, Colliers and us, we are working on. So we have, in Austria, we have this hotel called the Karnischer Hof. It's a family-run business, 32 rooms, which also has a spa area, tennis courts, etc. But the problem here was we weren't able to make it a business case only by operating 32 keys. Since the maintenance is high, all the utilities because of the spa areas are high, all the staff is high. We need a GM, we need a couple of back of house, front of house employees. So it was hard for us to make it a business case. And that's why, as you see in the middle, we decided to increase the stock from 32 regular keys, bringing it up to 52 keys by deploying 20 tiny houses, basically. And then, having them around the land. Because most of the hotels in this Alpine region, they have huge unused lands, basically. And so we decided to deploy 20 cabins here, and then increasing the entire stock to 52, which makes the unit economics way more interesting, since we can deploy the existing staff to the 52 keys instead of the 32, and also the spa area isn't much more costly if it's 32 versus 50 keys. Yeah, next one.
So, indeed. Quickly going back to that model, we were approached by the owner of the asset a couple of years ago, approximately 2 years ago. It was a family-owned business. The children didn't want to take it over, and we found a family office which purchased the asset. And in the end, they found out that they are it's very difficult to operate themselves. So there, 2 years later, Max stepped in and provided us indeed with this concept study, increasing and making, of course, the workflows in the operation a bit more technical. So having more technical keypads, etc., within the existing building, and then extending the room inventory with another 20 units outside makes it far more profitable. And as well, we expect a higher revenue due to this increase of room inventory. What we are looking for today is we're looking for institutional investors or banks or anyone which is interested in supporting Max with his venture, increasing his portfolio within the Alps, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, in different models. So we are open for anything. We have access to these families. We do have access to land plots around the countries. And in the end, we're looking for a private equity or a partner which is interested in growing this together with Alpami Hospitality. We are very flexible in terms of how we structure the deals. So it could be a joint venture partnership. It could be a preferred equity. It could be a forward funding, or it could be something else, and land lease, or we can discuss anything. What I as well would like to highlight is that it is a very important thing in terms of. It's very important to highlight that we are, in terms of development timeline, far below the usual development compared to a hotel. A hotel, until you have it permitted, it takes 3 to 4 years until the property is finished. And we are standing here only at this land, this property. It will probably be live in June or July. So we're picking up the summer season after signage of the agreement, which will probably be by the end of February. So that's a great example of how development could be fun in the Alps.
Yeah, so this is our current pipeline under contract. We have 2 locations live, and 2 we are currently developing. The 2 we are developing, they are opening this summer, which we are excited about, and we have many more plots which we are currently looking at. May it be existing campgrounds, may it be existing hotels, family-run businesses with large plots of land. So we're currently assessing several further plots, not only Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and northern Italy. Yeah, so next one. Yeah, so this is us, Alpami Hospitality. We're based in Munich and in Innsbruck, Austria. So we're very, based in that Alpine region. Together, we've been in the hospitality industry for 8+ years. Julian, my co-founder, is in the construction side of the business, so he's running all the construction parts of the tiny houses, preparing the land, etc. Benedict, he's our ops guy. He runs the entire operations with his team, and then it's me trying to expand the business, getting in more locations, etc.
Yes. So let's talk. We are happy to see you in lunch, during lunch, or during the breaks. Yeah.
Great.
To discuss this in more detail.
Well done, guys. Thank you very much. Right. Whilst Amanda and Chris make their way up, that's a great example. We were talking earlier about risk, and it is about risk. But the other side of risk is opportunity. The other side of winter is summer. It's a great example. And we can get to very different models by opening our minds to the possibility, getting off business as usual. So I think it's really exciting. Well done. And I would just say for everybody following, if you don't stick to the time, you might miss the ask. So I'd make sure you stay to the time, because you might run out of time before you ask what you want to ask. Okay.
Thank you.
Are you set?
Hi. Yeah.
All right, everyone, we're going to move from the Alps to the ocean, some beautiful islands, similar concept. My name is Amanda Braun. I'm with KSL Capital Partners. I'm here to introduce Chris Kateas. Chris is the co-founder of Eureka Glamping on Mathraki Island in Greece. He is a hands-on operator who has spent the past 3 years co-running and building a small bed and breakfast that has shaped the business model he's going to share today. He will be presenting the early stage of what could be a much larger platform that he believes could grow to over a $22 million opportunity. But today, he's beginning with a more focused ask of $170,000 raise to see the next phase of Mathraki. I'm going to hand it over to Chris. Please send in your questions. We're excited to answer them and see what you think.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone. Excited to be here. Before I dive in, I would like to be clear about our structure. Our opportunity is an investment in a business that already exists. That platform includes lodging, a restaurant, curated experiences, and a fleet of solar-powered golf carts and e-bikes for our guests to roam around our small island. It's profitable, debt-free, and built around assets we own and operate. And we believe the strongest partnerships are built by choice, not by necessity. The capital we're raising is to expand that platform, and I'll explain that next. What you see on the screen is our area of 3 islands, 30 minutes between each other and 30 minutes from the main land of Corfu.
It's a very popular tourist destination in the Ionian. So I'd like to share a practical way to develop travel destinations on small islands impactfully. I'm not here as a financier. I think this room has that all covered, including an economist. Hi, Mark. I'm here as someone who builds things, runs them, fixes them, and protects them. The pressures of mass tourism are clear. More visitors, but less quality. Less dignity and less benefit for the places hosting them. In destinations like Corfu, these effects are hard to undo, but easy to avoid if we start from a clean slate. 30 minutes away, there's an island that was forgotten. And in Greece, there are many islands like it, waiting for the right stewardship. Mathraki Island is off the coast of Corfu. It's close, but overlooked. My family has stewarded land there for 4 generations. During COVID, my wife and I moved to that island. And what we found was not a business opportunity. It was space, nature in its own rhythm, waiting to be appreciated. Olive groves, left untouched, and crystal clear waters, and a small community holding on quietly. An island protected from mass tourism simply because no one was paying attention. We started with a small family-run bed and breakfast. People didn't come for luxury. They came for something real. Visitors, along with locals, cleaned beaches and explored the island. And they engage with locals in activities. They arrive as visitors and leave having shared the island with each other and with the people who live there. After 3 years of running our seven-room place, last year, without marketing budgets, we welcomed 192 reservations from 17 countries. That told us 2 things. First, the demand is real and international. Second, traditional building methods are not island-friendly. Too much concrete, too much impact. So we had to find a better way. We chose to limit access, raise standards, and protect what the people were coming to our island for. That means building places that run all year, cost less to build, and don't rely on crowds. So instead of scaling fast and building heavy, we chose a different path. 2 years in the making, and at the center of our model is a custom-designed A-frame pod. It's placed lightly on the land, designed to comfortably sleep 4. It's durable, works year-round, and offers the comfort and service level people expect from a 5-star stay, without the footprint of a hotel. Each pod is set privately among the trees with sea views and their own electric golf cart. The result is a model that's low to build, easy to maintain, quick to deploy, and something people connect with immediately. Our second planned core asset is our pavilion. It's designed to be the heart of the experience, where people gather, eat, talk, and slow down. It's also where check-ins would take place in dining style and where curated experiences are introduced and booked. A meaningful source of ancillary revenue within the model. Across 18 small islands, our long-term scope is about 500 units. Building 10 units at a time at roughly the cost of one traditional hotel room. The playbook shortens the payback to 5 to 6 years. If a site performs, we move to the next phase. Alignment of our model with European Union and Greek policy, including grant support, makes this viable. And for the operators in this room, with loyal guests, our model offers them an alternative choice under your brand. In closing, the market for generic luxury is crowded. The demand for meaning, space, and authenticity is growing. We're inspired by building something that works for the place, the people, and the returns. So let's build something together. My sincere thanks to UFI and of the Energy and Environment Alliance, and Eleni Skarveli from the Greek National Tourist Organization for making my presence here today possible. I look forward to any questions. Amanda? Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Let's first talk about use of funds. Can you give us a high-level breakdown of costs and what you're looking to use the funds for?
Okay. Each key, which is Sleeps 4, is 44,000 euros, which includes the actual structure, the deck it's going to be built on, and its electric golf cart, and the furniture. So it's complete. It's a key. What we say, key in hand. You take the key and you use it. So it's 44,000.
Great. Let's talk a little bit more about these pods. I know you spent a lot of time researching the specific type of accommodation. Can you tell us a little bit more about the specialness of these units and why they might be interesting to investors?
Sure. So in an island setting such as ours, where there's all nature, untouched nature, building the traditional way is not only more expensive than building on the mainland, but the footprint, the carbon footprint, what we're talking about here today, plays a big role. So we chose to go the alternative method of building these pods on these decks for respect to the nature, respect to the investment, and it's got to be fun. People want fun today. The island itself is a fun island. And it's not because it's our island. all islands in Greece that fit in the same category, which is about 18 of them, they are fun islands to be at. Why? Because the families come with young adult children, and they fall in love with our golf carts. They love riding around the island, exploring. And a prominent business leader from The Hague, who was the director of a private business school, happened to visit us. And I always ask our guests, how'd you find us? He says, well, we saw the golf cart on your website. And then from this guest, we get other guests, prominent guests from Europe that normally would go to a 5-star hotel. But they select to come there to be close to nature and have 5-star. We do have 5-star services because I've been in the hospitality field for a long time.
Great.
Did I say more than I was supposed to?
You did great. We have some questions coming in from the audience that deal with a similar topic. And that is infrastructure. How do you conserve water? What is the water supply and sewage? How do you provide service infrastructure to the pods?
So on the island, we have 3 means of fresh water. One, we collect rainwater and store it. We have a reverse osmosis system for the entire island that turns seawater into regular water. And we also have deep wells. So we have plenty of water. And as far as the sewage is concerned, each pod will have 1 bathroom. And in this 1 bathroom, you have 160 square meters of space around it, which policy says that you can use natural methods of separating gray water from black water and dispersing it into the ground.
Got it.
This is an environmental study.
Okay. As we close up here, we have a question about what does this raise get you as an investor? Can you talk about that quickly and what you're looking for in a preferred partner as we close out?
Okay, so it's we're looking at about 22 million within 5 to 6 years. But we want to start small because we want to be responsible and we want to do it right. So this 170,000 euros, it's okay, is to bring 3 pods, build them, put them on their decks, and get that going with their 3 golf carts. So we want an investor that is patient, that really wants to create impact, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to have returns. Okay, the returns are very, very big part of the equation as well. But that's what the funds are for.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Well done. Brilliant. Well done. It just shows you, again, if we open our minds away from business as usual, that's a brilliant alignment of true sustainability, not just being environmental, but also community-based as well, with guest experience, with capital and payback in 5 to 6 years. I mean, so these things are not necessarily opposing, as the Mr. Clarks of this world, who is going to be my bête noire for the day, would like us believe. It's not all just a cost. It can actually pay back in a sensible way. And I think that's a really important outcome of that, as well as just the actual respect for nature and people. I think it is not necessary that every economic model is destructive of that. And I think, again, we need to look for those opportunities. So brilliant. Right. Rekha's here and Vincent's here. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Very excited to be back here. I think it's, what's the third EEA conference, Sophie? I think so, yeah. Very good to be here. And each year, obviously, we see the engagement stepping up. And it's really good to hear about some of the innovation that's happening on the development side, how lenders are thinking, and actually, the engagement from the luxury segment as well is very topical at the moment. I'm very excited to be here as a dragon for the Dragon's Den. I used to love watching the TV program, if anyone doesn't know about it. So we are excited to introduce you to Vincent, who's traveled all the way down from Uganda, and he is going to be presenting 2 fantastic and unique projects in Uganda that he's looking to raise financing for. And unfortunately, his 2 colleagues today, Joseph and Edwin, they couldn't make it, so he will be carrying the baton. So just before I make the introduction to Vincent, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions, same as the previous session, as we go through. So by way of introduction, Vincent Kisembo is a manager of monitoring and evaluation at Uganda Development Corporation. And there he leads the institutional reporting and oversees the integration of sustainability frameworks across UDC's investment portfolio. He's also a certified sustainability professional accredited by the Global Reporting Initiative and holds a PhD in natural resources governance from the Marara University of Science and Technology in Uganda. Over to you, Vincent.
Oh, hello and good morning. Hope you hear my accent. Person coming right away from Uganda. She has rightly introduced me, and many thanks to Ufi, who has made it possible for me to represent the rest of the Global South, and that is Uganda. We clap for her. And it's true. I come from an institution called Uganda Development Corporation, which was established by the British way back in 1903, so you can imagine. It's an institution which is more of 100 and so years. And Uganda Development Corporation, the way we operate, we establish companies and subsidiaries, but also we can engage into joint shareholding if we're starting in a company. We are in so many entities. We're in infrastructure. We are in hospitality, which I'm going to speak about here. We're also into other sectors like agro-manufacturing. So we boast of 22 portfolio. Our portfolio includes 22 ongoing investments in the country, which is at least over $1 billion United States dollars in terms of our portfolio. So here, I come here in the name of one of our subsidiary companies, which is Nile Hotel International. And I would say it holds 2 concessions. That is Serena Hotel concession, which is a 5-star hotel in Kampala. And we have another one called the Igongo Country Hotel and Cultural Center, which is in southwestern Uganda. And all these hotels are operating and profitable, but they are also following the sustainability elements. So why am I saying that? Why invest in Uganda? When Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister, visited in Uganda in 1908, he called Uganda the Pearl of Africa. And when the late Queen Elizabeth visited Uganda in 1952, she was left stunned by the beautiful climate, by the beautiful sceneries, but also by the natural resources which Uganda boasts of. You can see Uganda is more hospitable. We boast of mountain gorillas, which can only be found in Uganda, Rwanda, but also the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And we also boast of the equator, which separates, the equator passes through Uganda. We have nice infrastructure that are coming up, the roads. The hotels are already there, but also have the oil and gas that is now undergoing the commercial production, but also the increased transparency and accountability which is being guaranteed now. Now, we are proposing to have two projects which are actually now into the development phase. That is the Katwe Luxury Lodge. It is going to be located in the Queen Elizabeth National Park. Queen Elizabeth, you know, it was named when the Queen visited Uganda. That place, which is a very big national park with chimpanzees, with lions, with elephants, monkeys, baboons, so many wildlife, about 25 different species. Yeah, you know, so we want to establish that hotel in the midst of the national park so that the tourists, once they visit Uganda, the national park, they can easily have access, but also quick access and mobility within the national park. The land is available. It has already been acquired thanks to the government of Uganda. And the investment we're looking for is between 8 to 10 million United States dollars and $4.8 million as revenue is what we project for now. In the Katwe will be a 20 luxury suites with fine dining, wellness sanctuary, curated experience center. And we're saying we're going to establish this particular facility following the established sustainability guidelines as guided by the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI way. We also propose also to establish another one, which is the Galaxy Resort in Chikobe, that is also in Western Uganda, in an area called Bunyoro. And it's a destination resort and the regional services hub. And we're going to establish a golf course. We are now securing 200 acres of land to ensure that this facility gets into fruition. The government has also established a new international airport called Kabalega International Airport in that particular facility. It will be opened later this year. So we expect movement, for example, if you're flying from the UK to directly fly to that airport. The demand is also now logic. Uganda has been hosting a number of MICE activities, but also that particular area where we're going to establish this in 2027, we'll be hosting the Africa Cup of Nations. So expect so many tourists to go into that particular area. And the investment we need here is about $19 million with a projected amount of, in terms of revenue, of $6.5 million. So those are the artistic impression for these proposed projects. You can see the beautiful wild elephants, etc. Of course, we will follow our sustainability embedded into the projects. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties, but for us to conform ourselves, but also to adhere to the sustainability guidance, we're going to work with the regulators in the country, including the National Environment Management Authority, but also the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Those are two key institutions for which we're going to work with to ensure that we do not compromise the environment, we do not compromise the social aspects, but also the governance aspects are guaranteed. And of course, we shall ensure that we engage the communities from start to finish. Human rights and standards will be guaranteed. The board and the governance for these particular entities, once you come into force, will also be taken care of, but also ensuring the ethical conduct and the compliance of these facilities. A combined summary of our financial metrics are also in here, and we are ready to provide the nitty-gritties, including the details of these two proposed projects in Uganda. Thank you for your attention, and looking forward for your questions and answers.
Thanks, Vincent.
Yeah.
So as we know, there's obviously a massive increase in demand for experiential travel, as we've just been hearing about as well. And when we think about safari luxury travel in Africa, we think of more established markets like Kenya. What's the opportunity for the investor in Uganda?
Yeah, like I said, Uganda has unique features, like the mountain gorillas, like I said. Kenya, they don't have, for example, but also other African countries. If you want to track them, you can easily find them in Uganda. And you just see how those mountain gorillas, for example, they have more related features as human beings. So sure, investing there won't be a bad deal, but rather will be an advantage. Sure.
Yeah. And what extent of demand do you expect to come from outside the Africa continent? Is there an increase in international visitor numbers that you're seeing that will propel that demand for this product?
Yeah, ever since the end of COVID-19, around 2021, 22, the rate of tourism in Uganda has increased by 56%. If you go to the website and see how, people are coming in to visit these national parks, but also to relax, to take off for holidays, surely. So we project that this tourism will increase more and more. Yeah, so investing in emerging economies like Uganda is, for me, an opportunity which everyone should harness for now.
I think, of course, an emerging market is great in terms of potential upside you can get, but from a luxury standpoint, do we have a proof of concept? Do we know that this could work? Where could the demand be coming from for that? And tied in with one of the questions that have come in, how do you think about delivering this to the luxury standards required to get the long-term consumer demand that you need?
Like I said, there are a number of increased MICE activities in Uganda, but also a sample of other national parks, like Murchison Falls National Park, which is also the other edge of Lake Albert, which is near the Democratic Republic of Congo. We are seeing similar kind of projects have been established there, and they are generating a lot of not only revenues, but they have a blend of the sustainability aspect. They are not compromising the environment, and these are purely private led projects. So we think if government will come in and we partner with the private sector, I think we can have a better deal and then do business together without compromising the environment, without compromising the host communities, without compromising any governance aspects.
Yeah, and ultimately it's backed by the Ugandan government, the project.
Yeah.
So what do you think that, in terms of learnings, we're all looking to learn how do we make these developments sustainable? What can you tell us about the development? What makes it sustainable in terms of the build or, conservation of nature?
Yeah, these are projects that are going to be established in already gazetted facilities. For example, so you look at the Ramsar conversions, but also, one, from the design level, all these sustainability aspects have already been cared for. And the materials that in the course of construction, the facilities will be hoarded so that to allow, not to allow the wild animals disturb the construction activities, but also the human activities not to tamper with the wild animal activities. So the number of guidelines that have already been established, which are going to follow from start to finish. Yeah.
One question that's come in is, I've heard it said that there's a big problem investing in Africa in terms of getting your money out and avoiding corruption. What can you say to give comfort on these points?
The current, there is a clear policy on attracting investment. Even there is a desk that supports the investors, people who are coming from abroad and they want to invest their money. So, for example, there is anti-corruption coalition. Yeah, those civil society, they can make noise. There is a special desk for the investors. In case you find any challenges, you easily report, and whoever disturbs an investor is directly dealt with. The systems are more transparent. But also at UDC, which is a government agency that is in charge of attracting these kinds of investments, the guidelines, the frameworks are clear. And we also work with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development through the privatization and investor desk that tries to give confidence to the investors. And in case of any issues, you can easily channel any such issues and they are attended to promptly.
And are you targeting any certifications for these developments? Are you following specific frameworks for it?
Sure, yeah. In the country, we have the National Environment Management Authority guidelines and a number of regulations, some of which were revised in 2019. We have the National Forestry Authority Act, which we follow. We also have the international best practices, like those ones of the global reporting initiatives, but also even the Ramsar conventions, for which Uganda is party to. So we work from start to finish to ensure that we comply with these regulations by way of respecting them and following them to the dot. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
It looks like we are out of time. That's gone by very quickly. I'm sure you guys have got a lot more questions. Vincent will be around to answer any questions you have throughout the day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vincent.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Well done. That's great. Well done. Thank you, Vincent. Right, I'm sure there will be lots of questions for all the dragons. So, for all the, what do you call the other guys? What are these guys called? The pitchers, right, the pitchers. Jonathan, hi, come on up. Johannes, great.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to break for lunch at just after 5 so about 20 minutes, Jonathan. Is that
Fine.
okay? Yeah.
Well, I knew we were the last session before lunch, so we'll try and sort of keep it quick and move you through quickly. We're bringing it much closer to home now and moving up a bit in terms of the luxury scale. Delighted to have Yannis here today. He's a sort of highly acclaimed luxury hotel general manager, recently at the Beaumont, but also having worked at hotels such as the Connaught and also the Bristol in Paris. So great pedigree. I'll hand it straight over to you.
Thank you, John. And I don't even know who that guy is anymore. I haven't worn a tie for...
Or the guy with a beard.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened on that one.
For years. But John, thank you for being my partner in crime here. And Ufi, thank you for the opportunity to be here and for your guidance and support all along. Let me start with asking you a simple question. Have you ever stayed in a luxury hotel? It's beautiful, perfectly run, no detail overlooked. And yet, when you leave, you feel somewhat flat. I think this happens much more often than we want to admit. And what is interesting is that it happens at a moment where luxury hospitality is performing extremely well. The market fundamentals are strong. Luxury hospitality is growing. It seems resilient. Price power remains solid. Global wealth is rising. Demand for wellness, sustainability, and meaningful travel continues to expand. In short, demand doesn't seem to be the problem. The opportunity is how that demand is being served. Travelers are evolving. They want travel that reflects their values and their lifestyles. They want relevance, not standardization. Experience that feels personal, not staged. Guests are spending more, yes, but expectations are rising just as fast. And we feel this is the gap where value can be created. Luxury hospitality has mastered what is visible: design, scale, perfection. But what guests truly value is less visible: feeling recognized, restored, genuinely cared for. This is not a service issue. It is a shift of what luxury actually means. And it opens the doors to a new model, providing people what they need, not what they think they want. Working in some of the world's leading hotels taught me something very simple. What shapes a stay is not the asset, not the amenities, nor the efficiency. It is the quality of human attention. So I started to ask different questions. Who is the client and what are their needs? I listened, and the answers were consistent. Guests don't really want more. They need to be seen. They need to leave feeling centered and grounded. They need connection without intrusion. These are not trends. They're enduring human needs. And when hospitality responds well to these, loyalty, advocacy, and lifetime value increases. We applied these learnings at the Beaumont Hotel in Mayfair. Against top-tier competition, we invested in what actually creates value: our people, our culture, and the power of attention and presence. The results speak for themselves. Strong occupancy, excellent RevPAR, high repeat guests, lower distribution costs, and very low staff retention, or improved staff retention. What we called the listening hotel was not just philosophy, it was the better operating model. Hospitality influences how people rest, eat, connect, and recover. It touches community, supply chains, and local economies. When that responsibility is integrated into the business model as stewardship and not added as an afterthought, it creates new forms of value for guests, operators, and yes, for investors. That is the next frontier. And it's why we created Kepler, a new category of luxury hospitality, deep guest understanding, stewardship across people and systems, planet-positive designs and operations, spaces designed for work, rest, and connection, better experiences, better economics. Kepler aligns experience and performance, a more engaged service philosophy, more efficient operation, lower staff turnover, lower distribution cost, and smarter use of the assets. This, in turn, drives stronger loyalty, higher retention, and long-term value creation. We focus on two formats: luxury hotels between 50 and 100 keys, and a boutique model between 20 and 60 keys. We target underperforming assets in prime location and unlock value through repositioning, design, and operational transformation. Our priority cities combine deep demand, constraint for our model, and resilience. London and Paris lead, followed by culturally significant cities across Europe and beyond. Our current pipeline reflects this: disciplined projects and clear positioning with a strong return potential. This is about long-term value creation and not short-term extraction. Kepler expands beyond hotels into a broader ecosystem: publishing, education, retreats, and advisory. This builds community, brand depth, and recurring engagement beyond the stay. We assembled a team with deep expertise across real estate, investment, operations, sustainability, and design. This group understands both hospitality and capital. And Keith is with me here today, so fine to grab him at lunch to say hello. Luxury hospitality is evolving. Guests are changing. Expectations are rising. The next leaders will be those who align experience, responsibility, and economics. Kepler is built for that future. For our guests, our teams, our communities, and of course, our investors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yannis.
Thank you.
We've got a bit of time to have a chat, and I'm sure there'll be some questions coming through. Firstly, why Kepler?
So this is an interesting story.
Don't make it a long one, by the way,
very
because
good.
you'll miss the... Yeah.
So Johannes Kepler lived in the 16th century. He's known for two things, actually more than two things. I'll tell you three. First, his mother was accused of to be a witch. He defended her in court and won. That's a pretty cool thing to do. He also calculated the orbit of which we're orbiting around the sun and confirmed Galilei. And what we found interesting is that we feel luxury hospitality today doesn't want to look through the telescope, like a lot of the established science in the way who thought that we're the center of the universe. It's quite unpopular that the sun is actually the center of the universe. And lastly, and that's why you see our logo when you have seen it, he calculated the symmetry of snowflakes. It's a pretty cool thing to do. So that's why it's called Kepler.
Great, nice story. It strikes me that a lot of what you say, if we're looking at ESG, you're into the S of the ESG. Is that right? Are you doing a lot on the environmental side as well?
It's interesting. With Kepler, we're not really into ESG. We're actually into better living. We feel that sustainability and a lot of the right choices that we ought to do just have to become the better choices. So it's not really about creating an environment that ticks a lot of boxes, but what we want to do is to create for ESG to become a non-event. You go to a hotel because you love your experience there, and then it happens to have a circular shower, and it happens to have these new windows and grey water use. This is all great, but all you really care about is your experience and your great shower. And I think that that is an opportunity that is missed, that we have created sustainability as a category rather than an experience that becomes aspirational that happens to be fully sustainable.
If I ask some other luxury operator, I don't know if Tarek is still here with his Four Seasons hat on,
yes.
He might argue exactly the same for them. What are the other brands which you've seen, you've had experience of, doing which you think are fundamentally, I won't use the word sustainable, but sort of not meeting current life demands?
Well, I guess first and foremost, I'm here to speak about Kepler, not about what people are doing or not doing. And I work for Four Seasons. It's a great company. I think a lot of different companies do a lot of different good things. The Bulgari Hotel here in London uses grey water, which is fantastic. Six Senses opening, a dear friend, Nick Yonell, who's going to open it. They have a fantastic sustainability program. I think that where we're different is that we have built the sustainability as a foundation and not as something that adds on. And we don't try to signal what we do on the sustainability front in any way or form. It is really in the background, and we won't even really speak about it. It is just a given. So we want to normalize and create an aspiration around sustainable living where we're really following the clients who are already doing it. I think it's more the hospitality sector that lags behind actually doing it itself.
Okay, we've got some questions here, and I'll go straight for the most important one, so you've got time before we get clocked out. But we'll ignore that, by the way. What's the ask and what's the ROI? So how do you want to work with investors? And I saw on one of the slides you did have some of the returns, but talk people through that, and in particular, I guess, the quantum of the investment that you're looking for.
We need a lot of money, John.
This is what we're looking at. Say down there on the debt,
No. So we have great investors already on board to support us, and we're now looking at investors who accompany us through real estate projects. So we're looking at buying existing assets, transforming them, operating them through either a lease or a management contract. We ideally want an investor who is going to accompany us on a few projects. We're open to allow investors to be part of the brand equity as well. But it's really about a long-term partnership that we're looking. And the returns, they're great, but they're just a number on a piece of paper. So I can tell you we sort of have an IRR of 20%. What does that mean, right?
It seems like a great IRR for a luxury product in Paris or London.
Yes.
Not many people can get that.
Yes,
So
and I think
there will be some quizzing of you from the investors.
Yes. So what we do, and I think what's really important, and I said in the presentation, is that Kepler doesn't define luxury through material. A lot of the projects that are being done in hospitality right now, I mean, Rosewood opened again, a fabulous hotel, but it's 10 million a key. I mean, where does this stop, right? Like, so we don't need Loro Piana on the walls. We don't need the rarest marble. What we've realized, and what I've realized in my experience as an operator, is there is a fine line. When the product becomes good enough, anything you spend over good enough doesn't have an ROI. So our building cost, our way of operating is lower because we don't base the brand or the brand value on the product. And then there's other things through operations. So for example, we have a case study in Paris of a hotel where the initial capex investment is around 600,000 more, but you make that back in 6 years, and then from then onwards, you have 100 grand every year. So what's good for the environment is good for the balance sheet as well.
Okay, we're super short on time.
Oh.
I'll paraphrase a couple of the questions here. How do you connect with your customer base? Because this is all down to selling to that luxury group who might otherwise stay at the Rosewood, the Bulgari, and many others.
So what's very interesting is that I've always seen Kepler not as a company based in the consumer story. Right? Hospitality is firmly in the consumer story. We buy goods and services from another provider. Kepler is a citizen company, right? We allow people to participate in something that's meaningful to them. The future of luxury hospitality is not trying to create a lifestyle for people and attract them to it. It is really to deeply understand who the client is. And the 0.5% of the 1%, they live the Kepler lifestyle. And we'll connect through them because they feel that we actually deeply understand them and allow them to live the way they want to live, even when they're on the road. And then there's a wide array of travel agents and community and press and people who think like us who will help spread the message.
And so one final bit then, what's giving you the conviction? Did this come from direct feedback from in your previous roles? Did you go to the market? Did you test this concept?
So we tested the listening hotel model at the Beaumont, and it's proven, and we had fantastic results with very little cost in building the hotel and also operating the hotel. So it's a highly profitable model. I think on a very personal note, I've always been very fortunate to be put in positions that were arguably a bit big for me, and it sort of has worked out, luckily. And for me, there's an element to contribute, and I really couldn't find Kepler on the market. I might have just been an employee. So we've created the company that I feel is really missing in the market. So this is not something where I feel so personally strong about that. It's not about me, right? It's about a client market that is not served. And I couldn't find an inner city brand that combines what we wanted to do with Kepler.
Okay. Sorry, we're in the red. We're going to call time for lunch, if that's all right.
Fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, great.